This is a non-starter. Nobody's going to approve a 50% tax on companies. If you do that, the companies are gone. They're leaving. To take 50% of their wealth, their profits, is to leave them hamstrung to grow, which means that competition from other countries will distance them. And if you believe that, that's nuts. Hey, let's break this down a little bit. Bernie Sanders made a proposal called the American Artificial Intelligence Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. And he made this proposal, and it basically involves taxing any artificial intelligence company with annual sales of 200 million. It's going to tax them 50% of their profit. And this tax must be paid in company stock, not in cash. Right? So there's a lot of things going on here. He claims that this will generate a $7 trillion sovereign wealth fund, and then there'll be 8 people in charge of this fund that'll be totally ethical and devoid of any corruption, that will manage this money and pay it out to the appropriate people and grow it to the benefit of the average American taxpayer. And it appeals to the average man. Hey, tax the big guys. Take half their profits. But you know what would happen if you tax half their profits? They'll jack the cost up higher on companies that use their services. So it all comes back to you. So all of a sudden, the cost of goods and services go up. And then say, we don't understand why that is. They're gouging you. They're taking and then faulting them at the same time. Furthermore, it's a lie that this is all going to come back and help healthcare, housing, and $1,000 payouts to every person. This is a lie. I think every American has heard these lies before. It's not going to happen. It's a slush fund. You can't trust the government with excess money. We've seen this in Minneapolis, in California, Ohio. Too much corruption. And this is going to be the mother of all slush funds. That's all this is. These parties are putting out proposals which all involve taking money from the average man with the promise of giving it back in a better way. But in fact, they're taking it and they're creating corruption, backhanders, bribes, and profiteering. His plan to have this tax paid in company stock, then these AI companies are going to start to have the US government be their largest shareholder, at least these sovereign wealth funds will be the largest shareholders of these companies. And that's not good to concentrate that much power. We saw this in the last several years when BlackRock, which is a company, very large fund management company, they manage a lot of retirement funds all over the US and making them one of the largest shareholders in the US. And they decided they were going to bring about change in society, and they came out with what they called ESG guidance, which involved corporate boards changing how they did things to promote the ESG initiatives. And it was bad because it forced boards to do things that weren't good for the company, and it was bad. Eventually, it stimulated a lot of the DEI rules that went into the workplace. All of it backfired. All of it was reversed, and BlackRock has since backed away from pushing these ESG initiatives. And if you have a sovereign wealth fund sitting on $7 trillion, they're going to bend the will of these AI companies. Ultimately, I think these AI companies are going to leave. They're going to leave the US and go to outer space, go to other countries, go to jurisdictions where you can't touch them, hide, bury their wealth. But I'll tell you this, the penalty that's coming against them is so big of this tax, it would motivate these companies to engage in significant political activity to prevent it from happening. And that type of political activity, it's not good. And these proposals are not good. It's all about shaking down big business in different ways. It's irresponsible. It's patronizing the common man to think that somehow these costs don't get trickled down to him, but they do. And finally, any proposal or legislation that's being proposed now, which is in anticipation of the beginning of election year or election season, these are just talking points. This is just to stimulate interest in voters, to get them to turn out, to think that somehow they're doing good things. It's posturing. And almost all bills, Republican or Democrat, that you hear about now are all posturing bills. None of them will be voted on for the House, since this is an election year. Come next January, there'll be a new House of Representatives. It's brand new. All the bills from the previous year that didn't get voted on are gone. These are just talking points. And they're out there to get people worked up, see what they can get some traction on when they speak to the public.